Good evening, Nigerians, and thank you for joining us on You and Valor today. I want you to imagine this with me. Amina is a young girl, a 22-year-old university student with a whole future before her. Amina has a bright future and she is planning so well to attain dreams and aspirations. But just yesterday, Amina wasn't in the lecture hall. And no, she wasn't engaged in any of the extracurricular activities. She's in a room somewhere in the town where she was born. But her parents did not know that Amina is in town. Amina was brutally assaulted 3 weeks ago, and she found out that she is pregnant. Amina is terrified. And so Amina has also heard that the Nigerian law has outrightly said no. She has also heard that doctors could go to jail, and she also could go to jail on this particular topic. And so instead of visiting a hospital where there are trained surgeons to fix her problem, Amina decided to check out somebody who promised to fix her problem for just few thousands of naira. The next day, Amina became one of those women who lost their lives through unsafe procedures in Nigeria. But the big question here is, did the law fail Amina, or Amina simply did not know what the law says? Now, there are other confusions about this topic, from the South Criminal Code to the North Penal Code, and also the international treaties like Maputo Theory, the Maputo Protocols. There have been a complex understanding of this particular topic. Some believe that the doors are totally locked on this topic, and other people believe there are some legal exceptions to this conversation that could save life. And that's why today we are looking at the topic, legal guidelines to safe termination of pregnancy. It's a topic that is oftentimes whispered about and not explained totally for Nigerians. And that's why today on the program, we brought to you Barrister Bamidele A. Jacobs, who will be, of course, discussing this topic with us. And don't forget, you can join in on the conversation because the phone line will be open shortly. How can you go about safe termination of pregnancy? Well, let's hand you over now to the legal practitioner on the program today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you, moderator. I'm sincerely appreciative of this opportunity to want to talk to Nigerians about this topic and about the issues you have raised. Just to begin by saying that, one, it will be a misconception of the law to say, stricto sensu, that in Nigeria, abortion is totally prohibited. It's an absolute misconception. Rather, we say that the process of safe termination in Nigeria is only restrictive or restricted, and our laws are only restrictive. Now, for the scenario that we have painted, before now, there have been these laws we operate in Nigeria, which you have mentioned, talking about the criminal code in the south, talking about the penal code in the north. I mean, which were laws promulgated in the 19th centuries. That is talking about 18-something. You can begin to imagine that those are the kind of laws that we have relied on, handed over to us or handed down to us by the colonial masters, that we have been relying on up to this point. Now, if you look at sections of those laws, you will discover that those laws are so restrictive when it comes to, in fact, sincerely, it restricts or safe termination of pregnancy to only situations where the life of the mother is at risk. But then, in recent times, we have had laws like the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which was a law that was promulgated in 2015 by the National Assembly, and since then, a lot of states have followed suit by domesticating this law. And in most of these laws that we have all over Nigeria, and even the one that is at the national level, now you will see that there is a provision that says that it is the responsibility of government to provide comprehensive medical assistance to victims of sexual violence.
The law said that.
Yes, under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and the various laws that we have in the various states of the Federation, including Ogun State has one. And Ogun State specifically also made that same provision. And I can remember too, in fact, my organization, Lawyers Alert, even has a case in Benue State right now where we are putting before the court to decide whether rape does not constitute or sexual violence, and if so, are victims of rape or survivors of rape not entitled to comprehensive medical care, medical assistance by the state government? And if that is true, should it not cover issues like rape and when incest takes place?
So what is the legal way out in cases like this?
Okay, the legal way out, just as I am saying and I've said, is simply this. I said the laws we have before now, those are colonial laws that we mentioned earlier, are restricting abortion to only where the life of the mother is being threatened, is at risk. But then laws such as the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act has come in place to a little bit of expand this beyond what it was. And I can also tell you categorically that in 2018, the Ministry of Health, in its wisdom, championed a process where professionals from all over, lawyers, medical practitioners, NGO practitioners, and various professionals were brought together to actually come together and put in place a national framework, what we call a national guideline on safe termination of pregnancy in 2018. And in that guideline, you will discover that issues such as rape, issues such as incest, issues such as sexual assault appear to have been exempted. Are situations where they happen, a medical worker, a health worker is empowered, has been empowered by that guideline, that framework, to actually render these services, especially where 4 things are in place. 1, is there rape? 2, is it as a result of incest? Or is there a threat? Does it endanger or the physical or the mental health of the mother? Where any of these 4 things are in place, then a health worker is empowered to actually render or safe termination of pregnancy services to the victim.
You see, the fear factor is still a very key thing we need to talk about in this topic. And the fear factor is not just coming from the victims alone. It is even from the doctors. From the scenario I painted with Amina, there's the fear factor from Amina. Aside the fact that, you know, she's a student who is pregnant, she's also scared because not a lot of doctors we have there, they try to run away from anything that has to do with unsafe, anything that has to do with safe termination of pregnancy, which we call abortion in most cases.
Yes.
So a lot of doctors, because of the jail term and the conversation about it, a lot of doctors run away from cases like that, and it pushes more of this maternal death ratio. Because this scenario we painted about Amina, if there is a better understanding from the hospital perspective as well, it could have been, you know, a bit okay, and we would have been able to reduce death rate to some extent. But hospitals don't want to concern themselves with conversation like this. And you are here telling us on the program today that the law gives exemption. So where is the problem lying at now?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm not surprised that the situation is still what it is in the country.
Yes.
Now, see, when ignorance has, when a situation has gone for too long, you imagine that that situation cannot change in a day, which is why programs like this have offered us Nigerians that opportunity to know the true position of things as they are. Now, we are talking about laws that have operated in Nigeria close to a period of 100 years before now. And under that condition, all of us have existed before now. And so you can imagine, even when the situation has a bit be changed or has expanded, has gone beyond what it used to be, it will take a lot of time or some time for people to get to know that, the situation as it was has a little bit changed. And so that is what is happening. And that is why I urge every stakeholder, I mean, let's carry this information far and near to let everybody know that the situation that we had on our hands years back has a little bit been expanded beyond what it is. And I mentioned this. Or I said, in 2018, there is a guideline released by the Federal Ministry of Health called the Safe Termination of Pregnancy Guideline. It is simply called STOP Guideline by the Federal Ministry of Health. And a lot of states have also domesticated that guideline. And in that guideline, all I've said before are provided there.
Just so we are clear, this guideline does not cover for people who are married, but one thing led to the other. The wife is pregnant and she wants to, terminate such pregnancy. It doesn't apply for such people.
No,
or some people who you are careless and it just happens.
No, I've enumerated those 4 situations that are applicable. In fact, it used to be only one situation in the past when the life of the mother is at risk. But now it has been expanded to almost 4.
Okay.
I have mentioned rape, in cases of incest, in cases of sexual assault, and I have said also that when the situation endangers the health or status, the mental health, or the physical health, mental and physical health of the mother. So if you even ask me, almost 5 or situations.
That's progress.
I mean, over what it used to be, just 1. And so that is what it is today. So what I'm saying in summary is that the situation we have on our hands today has far gone beyond what it used to be. What we used to have under the operations of both the criminal code and the penal code of the south and of the south and of the north. And so you can imagine which of the situations that all of this will not cover today. In Ogun State, for example, the STOP guideline in Ogun State recognizes mental health. And mental health is a situation that goes to cover a lot of issues. And so, if you ask me, as a lawyer, and strictly interpreting and giving interpretation to all these instruments, or all these legal instruments that we are talking about, I will tell you it has far gone beyond what it used to be. And let us even go a little bit beyond the shores of this country. We have the Maputo Protocol.
Yes.
In 2003, some African countries, a number of African countries met in Mozambique, Maputo or Mozambique, where it was actually decided and agreed that it was time to concede a lot of rights to African women and girls. Because this vulnerable category of people have suffered for too long. And so it was agreed. If you look at Article 14.12.2c, specifically, I'm saying that again, Article 14.2c of that protocol, you will discover that there are clearly 4 situations that have been spelled out there where safe termination of pregnancy should effectively be carried out. And nations who are signatory to that protocol have been mandated. Mind you, I have not said have been advised, have been mandated by that protocol to put in place systems and institutions that will give effect to that article of the protocol. And to tell you, Nigeria signed on to it in 2004.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. And the protocol itself became operational in 2005. And so since 2005 till now, you can begin to imagine 21 years. That has been in existence with us. Yet, because of the so long a time that those other laws have taken with us, that ignorance is still pervading. A number of people, even health professionals, even some lawyers that ought to know, still or spread that ignorance. That it is. In fact, some even go to the extent of saying, abortion or safe or pregnancy, termination of pregnancy is illegal. That is not the situation. It was only restricted, but now the expansion has gone beyond what it used to be, which is why we have programs like this have become an opportunity for us to be able to tell Nigerians the true state of things and where we are today and what it is today.
You know, it's been 20 years, just like you mentioned, since Nigeria accepted the Maputo Protocol to, you know, to use this. But it still feels like this conversation around Maputo Protocol is more like, it's more existing in the papers than in real life. And you've mentioned that even some health practitioners, they still want to cling to the old laws, to the laws that have been on ground before now. And in some cases, some states will tell you that the local laws even overrides or supersedes this international law. And so a lot of people are still not aware of the rights. Now, in a situation where someone was denied the access to this thing, and the health of that person is at risk, or, you know, those assumptions you gave us, you said you have 5 of them, and this person has been going from one hospital to the other, and this thing keep persisting. What can such person do?
Okay. Now, I tell people, you see, ignorance has kept us away even from testing the law sometimes.
Because it's one thing to know the law. It's another thing for the law to be applicable, for people to accept the law. Now, I'm speaking because I know the law. Someone else is watching, and they've heard, and they know that there are laws like this. But it's another thing for the people who provide the services to agree that there's a law like this that exists. So in a situation where there's not enough time to start discussing this back and forth, what can be done? Okay,
you see, what can be done is simple. And I would like to start from the point that we are in a situation where, or we are in a country or in that part of the world where, out of fear, people do not even want to, or we hardly test our laws. Which is why most times, despite the fact that Nigeria has beautiful laws that you go through today and begin to say, where is this country where we are? And where are we still where we are? We have all those laws in place. But then, the problem with us, or the challenge that I think is with us, is that...
I think we have a caller. Good evening, and thank you for joining us, Adi.
Good evening. My view is that this issue is that termination of pregnancy should only apply when the life of the mother or the carrier is in danger. Either marry or not marry. If the mother is in danger, termination should be applied. But apart from that, I don't think why the baby should not come to the what is the reason to the president? I don't know. So why is the life expectancy? We are not a person. I believe we are no more. That is the only restricted to anyone the life of the woman and the baby is in danger. That's the only clause. Either whatever the law is, it doesn't matter. So the life of the carrier is most important. And the danger, the termination apply. Otherwise,
thank you so much, Abdi, for calling. So I didn't get you too clearly, but I think you were also emphasizing that the life of the carrier should be also considered in conversation like this. And yes, conversation like this, we cannot take away the belief of people. You see, there are some people who will tell you that their religion do not permit this.
Yes.
So whether you are going to a doctor who is trained to take this out or not, it doesn't permit this. But Adi is trying to say that he agrees with you, but the thoughts and opinion of the person carrying this child matters a lot.
Yes, let me talk about that. Yes, at all times, there's this principle, in fact, ingrained in both the guideline that I've spoken about before, that one, if after the laboratory investigation has been conducted by health workers, and then it will come to the stage of taking a decision as to, is this the best option for this person? Then the third level again is to give counseling
to the person
concerned. And after counseling, you now go ahead to get an informed consent. To get informed consent, mind you, I didn't just say to get the consent of the mother or the person or at the center of it. It has to be an informed one. Informed consent means that after counseling the person, educating the person, making open and making available unnecessary information to the mother, to the person carrying the pregnancy, the person then will have to decide. So based on all these things you have done, these 3-4 stages that precede that precede or the stage of informed consent, you will now allow the person to take his decision, her decision. So if the person says, no, I don't want this, after you have done or taken all these steps, after a health worker has taken all these steps, and the person is still saying no, in fact, so will it be. Nobody will force anybody against her will when it comes to this issue in particular. And so all of this have been stipulated out in the guideline, both the one at the national level and the one at the state level. And I know in 2000, in the year, just as I said before, in the year 2018, the one at the national or level was launched, and in 2023, and specifically on May 17, that of Ogun State was also launched. And a number of states in Nigeria have also domesticated that guideline. And so the guideline has a way of doing this. And I want to make this clear to everyone. Nobody is saying or medical abortion or safe abortion should be made available to everybody. All. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Not at all. Or should be something that will be on demand. Something you go to get. Just as you go to get medicine for a headache.
But do you think nobody is saying to that extent?
Even if we're going to get to that extent, which somebody like me desires, but I do know that it's going to be a gradual process. Okay. Where we are today, we still need to begin to clap for ourselves a little bit.
But sometimes the medical fear, the fear from the medical practitioners are the case of death, which mostly occur from people who are not expert in it. I know even in normal circumstances too, death can still occur, even if, you understand what I'm saying?
Good.
So these are the reasons why some people are fighting.
Two things I would like to say in that direction. Number one, that is why nobody is talking about, if you are very careful, I have never mentioned abortion. We are saying safe abortion or safe termination of pregnancy or medical abortion. Now, so by that what we mean is that one which is carried out by professionals, medically qualified individuals. And not just that is carried out in an environment that possesses the minimum medical standard. And so two things are involved.
Yeah, but we have to wrap up now.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
I mean, wrap up with that and...
Okay, so one, the person who does it has to have the required skills medically. And it has to be carried out in an environment that meets or the minimum medical standard that has been stipulated.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Barrister Bamidele, for coming on the program
welcome.
today.
You're welcome.
But shortly, I don't know if you mind sharing your contacts for people who might want to reach out for cases like this. But
okay, yes, I actually work for an organization called Lawyers Alert. I am the director legal. Lawyers Alert is a human rights organization.
Thank you. That is going commercial already.
Okay,
don't worry, you can always.
Yes, so my contact, is it my personal contact? So my personal contact, I think my contact is 080 or 66 60 00 215.
All right, that's the number. You can call if you have an issue. Okay, yeah, you can call it one more time.
The number once again is 080 66 60 02 then 15. That's the number.
Okay, that's the program this week, and I trust you enjoyed every part of it. Thank you for watching You and the Law. We'll see you next week, God's willing. Until then, be a law-abiding citizen. Bye for now.
This is OGTV, the People's Telly.